When I had the opportunity to meet my biological family and found out that my mom had passed away, I ended up getting some paperwork. And in that paperwork, a lot of it was blanked out. There's a lot of information missing. But what I did find was that when my mom was a young teenager, she moved to the city. She had like a grade 6 education, struggled with speaking English, and she had very little supports. So you have a young girl who is in this large city, and the only people putting their hands out to help her were the same group of people that put out their hands to me. And that group of people said the same message to my mom as they did to me years later. That was, you don't have to read, you don't have to be able to write, you don't have to do a math test. All you gotta do for us to be your friends and accept you is show up with a case of beer or a bag of weed. My mom did the exact same thing I did and thought and said, hey, that's easy. I can do that. Do you think when my mom was pregnant that the people around her, now my dad, he was a biker, so she's surrounded by guys in the biker lifestyle and all this. Do you think they said, oh my goodness, Shirley's pregnant, we better stop drinking? No, right? She wasn't supported. Did she know the cause and effects of drinking while pregnant? Did she know what could happen at what time? No. The only supports my mom was having these social workers that didn't know everything that was going on coming into our home, and they were taking her babies away. It said in the report that when I would go home for a visit, my mom would just hold me and rock me for the whole time, like for the full hour. Could my mom give me food, clothing, a safe environment? No. Did she love me? Absolutely. And that is what I focus on when I think about my mom. Would have I had the same struggles and experiences if my mom didn't drink? Maybe not. But that doesn't do me any good to hold on to what ifs. It doesn't do me any good to be angry or hurt at my mom, right? There was a time I was hurt, thinking, man, life would be a lot easier if I didn't have FASD. But that was my personal journey. Now I can tell you I've had parents and caregivers say, can you tell my child to, not be mad at their mom? You have to understand that anger and hurt comes from a loss of potential. And so it's an individual journey. People have the right to be angry and hurt at that loss of potential, but we also have a right to be resilient and understanding of things, right? So one of the biggest things that I struggled with that I talked about earlier on was that ability to understand connecting with people, having that attachment disorder. Now, attachment disorder isn't necessarily FASD based, it's more your environmental factors, right? And so when we talk about things like removing fetal alcohol from the diagnoses, I personally don't think we should, because it wasn't the FASD that was what caused my attachment disorder. It was the environment. So if we make the name environmental factors, then okay, that falls under there. But it wasn't the environment that made it hard for me to process the steps for math. It was the alcohol intake during the pregnancy that did that. So that's why it should be called FASD. And I'm okay with that, right? And I find that most individuals are, right? So when I understood these things, I remember sharing, and this was a couple of years ago, I was actually sharing my presentation at a school, and it was maybe a high school, junior high, and there's a bunch of young teenagers there and a bunch of young women, probably 14, 15 years old. And I shared with them, I grew up thinking nobody wanted me and I wasn't good enough. And then I realized that that was me being a victim, suffering. when in actuality, it was the complete opposite. Not only did I have all of these families that loved me and they were lucky enough to have me for a couple days or a couple weeks, I got adopted and brought into a beautiful, loving, caring home that I am now reconnected with. And we went through, sharing struggles together to now sharing achievements and celebrating together. I had the opportunity to connect with them, right? And then I had the opportunity to meet a beautiful young lady, and we just recently celebrated our 2 years of marriage, and we have a 2.5-year-old little girl. My little girl, the day that she was born, I remember holding her and looking down at her, and it was as if I was going to look down at her and say, "You're safe, you're okay, I've got you." But when I did that, she looked right at me, and it was as if she said to me, "You're safe, you're okay, I've got you." And so it's funny, when I was telling this story at the presentation at the school, I said, so if you ever want to get over your attachment disorder, just go have a baby. And obviously I got in trouble from the principal of all these young women saying, "Oh, you should have a baby." But anyways, it was so amazing for me because here I was doing these things, finding ways to be successful. I will never hold a 9-to-5 job. It doesn't work for me. I understand that, and I'm okay with that. What I'm good at, those are things I focus on. The way I live my life is focusing on my strengths, my abilities, not my disabilities, right? I have FASD, I'm not FASD, I have so much more to offer than that, right? We've even heard things of people with FASD can't parent. What does a child need? A child needs routine and structure. What do I thrive on? Routine and structure. Do I know that my baby, she wakes up in the morning, I pick her up and I give her a kiss, and we come out and we snuggle, and then I change her, and then I get her dressed, and then I make her breakfast, and then we watch a show, and then we play, and we do some crafts, we go for a walk, we come back, we have a nap, she gets up, or we have lunch, then she has a nap, she gets up, we play, we do some crafts. That routine and repetition is so great for her. It's also great for me, and it makes for a great parent. More than that, you shouldn't look at FASD and go, those 4 letters define if you're going to be a good parent or not. The 4 letters you should look at should be LOVE. And that is one thing that I can absolutely 100% guarantee you. I love my daughter, and I will do everything I can and am able to do for her. And I can, and I'm able to be an amazing parent for her, right? Those are things I'm good at. Put me on a stage and let me talk about FASD and help people understand it differently. This was the gift that the Creator gave me. This is not my message to be kept. The Creator uses me as a tool to be able to share this with other people so that I can make a difference in this world. I am an individual with FASD who has been given the opportunity to be a part of those conversations. And this is what I want for other individuals with FASD, to be a part of the conversations, be a part of the change, be a part of bringing in that support for others, so that it's not a, "Oh, look at Myles, he's succeeding, I wish my child was like him." No, it's, look at Myles, he's succeeding. What did he do to succeed? What is my child doing to succeed? So that we can look at Johnny, we can look at Susie, we can look at Angel, we can look at Myles, we can look at whoever it is and go, "Hey, they're doing it, look at them," right? So I just have taken the opportunity as much as I can to learn from my experiences in my life and say, how does this play a role when it comes to FASD, right? One of these experiences that I've had is an experience that we've all been going through this last year, and that is this whole thing with the coronavirus. If you want to talk about concrete and abstract, talk about the fact that I've been told, "Myles, you have to stay inside, You can't go out anywhere because of this disease that is killing millions of people, this thing that's killing these people that you can't see. And, you just can't go do your presentations. You can't do that thing that gives you that sense of purpose to be helping others. You can't do that anymore. That's taken away. And I think to myself, okay, well, then I have to do some self-care. Maybe I'll do my two big things for self-care are working out. Oh, no. The gyms are closed. You can't do that. Okay, my other self-care is I go to the mall. I love walking around and shopping and people watching at the mall. No. The malls are closed, Myles. You can't do that. So I'm supposed to stay inside, and you're taking away my routine and my repetition, and you're taking away my self-care. You're taking away those things that give me this sense of self-purpose from work, all because of something I can't see. I could almost actually handle that if you could go, but don't worry, because on January 17, 2021, it'll be gone. But nobody can do that. People are going, yeah, it's this thing you can't see, causing all this stuff, taking all this stuff away, and it will end who knows when, but be okay with it. That is very, very difficult for all of us. Every one of us has, struggled with that in one way or another because of what it's taken away. When we're talking about individuals with FASD, something that we can't understand and see that is extremely abstract has taken away our routines, our repetition, our strategies, our coping mechanisms. So you want to talk about like that mental health and the effect that it has for people with FASD. If you struggle with feeling a sense of self-purpose, a sense of fitting in, sense of self-worth, and now you're affected by this too, yeah, we're going to be talking about behaviors. Absolutely. Because how am I supposed to react to this? How am I supposed to feel okay with this? I am a well-educated, I would, say I'm a well-educated, smart young man that, does well in life. And I still have to check myself to be like, okay, come on, how are we feeling? What am I going to do today? How do I deal with this? And now even with some places being open, you got to wear a mask. And okay, so I've got to put this material on my face when I have sensory issues. And then you got to go in these stores and you got to put this hand soap on that when you have sensory issues cannot feel good. And sensory issues or not, every hand soap in every different place is different. So what if I go to 3 different places in one day? If I go from the store where I have to go buy socks to the grocery store where I have to get some groceries to stopping to go to another store to get diapers, those are 3 different places where I have to have 3 different types of hand soap with different texture and different smells. It is a lot to take in. There's a lot there that people don't see and understand that you're having to deal with, right? So a lot of it is that self-talk, self-understanding of, okay, what can I do? And also, too, being able to relate with other people and having other people go, man, this is hard, this is tough, right? And so, again, that whole feeling of I'm not the only one can really help. So talking about those things, having those conversations. It's interesting, we look at this epidemic and we go, it's affecting millions of people. Do you know FASD, how many people are being affected? But we don't talk about that because, that's from people that drank during their pregnancy. That's not good. Just like other disabilities. We talk about them, but we don't talk about FASD. I can tell you, we can be as smart as somebody who has autism. We can be as cute and kind as somebody who has Down syndrome. We can be easily as distracted, but have inventful minds as somebody who has ADD or ADHD. But because it's FASD, we don't talk about it.